In this section, we're going to learn how to actually create and write to a file on the device's core file system. Basically, we're going to have an input box where we can type in whatever we want and click save, and it'll save to the phone, to the device's storage. So I'm going to paste in the outer shell, and I'm just including some jQuery. In the body, we're going to have a text box with the ID of my text and a button with the ID of save file button. And then we're going to have two divs. One is going to be for messages and one's going to be for the content. So I'm going to save that. We can open that up just to see what it looks like. It looks just like the application we just built, but this time we're not downloading a file from the internet, we're creating a file. So next I'm going to paste in some of the standard phone gap programming. We're just going to create the event listener. We are going to instantiate this file object at the top, and then we're going to call the onDeviceReady function, which will call the window.requestFileSystem, much like the download file tutorial that the past section that we just did. And we're doing the same thing. We want it persistent because we don't want it to be deleted. Everything else pretty much the same. Let's change this fail to on error. And now we can create this on file system success function. So I'll just paste that in next. Okay, so when we call this function, we can use this file system object here. So we're saying file system.root.getFile readme.txt. So if we do have this readme.txt file, then it's going to get that. If it doesn't, it's going to create it. That's, you can see we have create true. Exclusive, I'm not really positive what exclusive means. I'm thinking that it means that it can be overwritten. Yeah, I mean, but I'm not sure about that. And then we're just going to call this got file entry if we're successful, and then on error if we're not. So the next thing to do is create this got file entry function. So I'll just paste that in there. And we get this file entry object we can use, which we're setting to file object. And then here we're saying if the save button is clicked on, then we're going to run save file content. And save file content is a very small function. We're just going to say file object dot create writer, and then we're going to call the got file writer if it's successful, and on error if it's not. And I just keep changing those because the initial code had used fail, but I like to use on error, so that's why I changed that. Alright, so next we'll create the got file writer function. Okay, so this function is kind of long. We can use this writer object that gets passed to it. We're creating this variable called myText, which is the element value that has the ID of my text, which is here. Alright, so that's the input field. Now here we're saying writer.write to my text, and now we're saying writer.onWriteEnd is going to be equal to a function, and in that function we're going to assign some content to the message div. It's going to say file contents have been written. Wait a minute here. Where do we go? file contents have been written, and it says the file path. Alright, so we can get the path using the file object. Alright, so next we're assigning a file reader object to a variable called reader, and we're going to read as text, and we're going to pass in the file object. And then reader.onload, we're going to call a function that's going to assign the contents to the content div. So let me just... Alright, so that's all that's going to do. This here, we're using the event variable, which we passed right here, to get the result. So basically, that's what's going to show in the content div. So the last thing we need to do is just do our error callback, and this is simply going to alert an error code. Alright, so that looks good. So now we need to push this to our repository. Whoop, didn't mean to do that. Alright, so we pushed the file to the repository. Now we need to update the code, pull latest. And what I'll do is I'll actually make another video showing you what happens when I do this on the actual device. So we get the APK file, save that, downloads, it's right here, I'm going to copy it. I'll delete this one and replace it. Alright, so now I'm going to install it, and I will make a video for that.